Alright, one of the lads has asked me if he can, he says, Mark, do us a favour, will you just show me how you clean your airbrush? I says, aye, if you want. Now, there's a difference between a tutorial and this, because this isn't a tutorial. I'm just going to stand my camera up a little bit. He says, my phone. Tutorial is somebody giving you a specific instruction, I think, and telling you on what to do. This isn't that. This is me just telling you what I do. So before you start writing to Esther saying it's doing it wrong, I don't care. It's not what you do, it's what I do. Alright, that's about as hacky as it comes. Now, the reason that it's that mucky is because I were in a rush last night doing a bit of painting, and I've basically get it a bit of a rush through, and I ain't seen to it properly. Calm down, you're alright. Now, bit of cellulose thinner will get that off. Isopropyl / IPA, same stuff that, right? Just called different shit. But if I've left my airbrush in a bit of a state, which ain't very often, I'll use that, because that'll eat through tarmac. And just get a quick, I'm just wiping my needle. What I try and do on my needle wipe, even though if you rewind it about 15 seconds, you'll say, you're lying shit, you don't do that. I try and go one way. Sometimes it don't always kick in. You've got to try and go one way, right? Am I trying to agitate it a little bit out, or can't I? Take your filthy mind out of gutter, right? You've got to go one way. No, you ain't got to go one way. It's best if you go one way. Why is it best that you go one way? Because if you pull down and that napkin bends the end of that, then you're looking at potentially a new needle, or straightening it, or, you know, whatever. So try and go one way up towards the point. I'm going to put my eyes on. I don't want to get into boring details. I see that's not focused, but you can see it's a lot cleaner. Okay. The guy that's asked me about how I clean airbrushes, how I do my airbrush. This isn't hard and fast, right? This isn't the law on how it should be done. You can hear it because I'm pushing down on my trigger. It's just how I do it. Alright. So always put needle in from that way and pull it out that way, right? That's what first thing I got taught. In through that way and out through that way. And the reason that you do that is because if your needle's caked in shit and you're pulling it back towards your trigger housing. It's as simple as that. Okay. I'm going to squirt some paint through this, but I've just come to flush it with water and it's blocked. So I am getting air, but I'm not getting paint. I'm surmising that you're pretty au fait with how one works, otherwise, you know, you won't be asking me. You just got a bit of trepidation on saying, well, I would use it a lot more often, but every time I come to use it, it's always blocked. It never works properly. It's this, it's that. Actually, it always works properly. Thing is, that's got to clean it. And I harbour on about that all the time, especially to lads at club. You've got to clean it. Bridges done me a clean today. Absolutely spot on. You know why? Because I've taught him right. That's why. You've got to treat your airbrush like a bit of a surgical instrument. It's very delicate, it's very precise, but you can throw it about a bit, it'll do a job, right? So when you're cleaning it, you've got to be oh so gentle, but get it done. I know that sounds like, you know, well, you're contradicting yourself. It's because it's difficult for me to say you've got to have a touch like a fairy. You have. When you're cleaning an airbrush, you've got to have a touch like a fairy on acid, because you've really got to get in there and get it done. Don't fanny about with it, right? Don't fanny about with it, get it done. So basically what I've done there is I've taken my needle out, and I'm sure that you're alright with that. And you can see that I've taken my crown off as well. My crown that bit, and obviously that bit. That's my needle nipple, that bit, isn't it? Okay, so a three-pronged approach here. When you come to do your airbrush, so I've taken my crown off, taken my needle nipple off, I've slackened my chuck off there, just that one, right, and I've pulled my needle through that way, that's it. So, I've given my needle a bit of a rub. I've used a bit of cellulose thinners. What's rule number one, Bridget? Lid on. Lid on. Rule one. So I've given it a bit of a rub with cellulose. What I could have done was used a little bit of isopropyl, and you can get it off eBay for like about 20 quid for a million gallon. I usually use that, but because I'd left that mess overnight, I knew it wouldn't be strong enough. No, it's not one of them, it's that. Right, up and down, it's straight up like that, up, off, up and off. Like I said, if you go up and down, if end of your needle catches that, as soft as that is, that'll bend that, they're knackered. Once my needle's out, only when my needle's out, right, you can see my little port there, can't you? We've all got one. And I'll just put my cotton bud into my bottle of iso. In fact, I ought to do it on camera really, didn't I? I'll just drop that into there, I'll put that into there, and then I'll just get a little twist, and then a little stir, right? And what I'm trying to do there, I'm trying to agitate and break down the paint that's inside, because primarily, when your airbrushes, it's not working, it's only this little bit here, right, that really needs some TLC. There's no atoms that side that knackers up with paint at this side. So it's from bottom of your reservoir here, this way. Okay. Now, I've cleaned that once already. Right, I have, I'm serious. There you go. That little black speck, right? It's like one of Saturn's moons. Does Saturn have moons? Jupiter's moons even. Right, I'm going to swap my cotton bud. Right? On the grand scale of things, what I'm trying to say is, trying to sound clever, it ain't working. What I'm trying to say is, that microscopic little amount of shite, it stops the air and the paint travelling lovely over the needle, and it disrupts the flow. Okay, so you've got to try and break and agitate this little bit of paint down that's inside there. I'm not ramming it in, right? I'm not trying to get that through there. I'm just trying to clean bottom of that res. And then with a bit of good light, I'm just looking in, and I can see that's alright. Okay, number 2. You need to get yourself just a little set of these. Little dingly danglers. Right, the cleaning rods out, the cleaning brushes. All different various thicknesses and what have you. And then, again, it's not a professional science, right? Pick the one that's closest to the hole, the size of the hole. Right, in this particular case it's not one size fits all, but you can't wreck it anyway. And all I do, remember it's all I do, I'll drop that into there like that and give that a little swing, and then in front where my holes are, so I've got 2 holes there for air, one adjacent to each other, and central one where my needle comes out, that's where my paint comes out. I'm going to just drop that into there, and I'm going to push it in. Right, and I'm just going to, yeah, like this. And all I'm doing there, if there is any paint sat in the bottom of that chamber, I'm just agitating it and I'm just breaking it up. Okay, that's all I'm doing. You don't need to put a sweeping brush up there, just one of these little brushes, right? They're not expensive, they're about £2.99. Get the metal ones, because I've had the other ones not so good. Get these metal ones. You can't hold it up here, look. It's like trying to push wet string. You've got to hold it close down, and you've got to do it in and out. Alright, I've just gone to a slightly smaller one. I'm only doing the central hole, the hole where the needle is. Right, listen. And I'm just breaking it down, right? There shouldn't really be a lot of paint in there, to be fair, anyway. Once I've done that bit, I go back in through top with a wet one, ISO. I'm just going to have a look, and I'm just going to see if there's any bits of smegging paint just being pushed through, right? Because I want to get that out at top end now, like that. Still, it's mucky, but it's not acky black, right? Right. Your crown should come in two halves. I'm saying it should. I don't know whether it should or not. Mine does. And I've taken the very front off, just for that bit. And again, a little bit of ISO in there, because paint gathers in there when you're painting. And I'm just going to give that a little twist round. Now that is not rocket science, right? Because the paint that's, you know when your paint comes out of the airbrush, it's that. I don't know if you've ever googled it, how does an airbrush work, and looked on YouTube, which is what I did for about a week solid, which is why I still don't know about it. But it'll tell you how paint comes out of an airbrush. And then you'll be able to understand the mechanics of a little bit more, maybe. Took me about 800 times to digest it, that it came out in a cone shape. Just trying to kid you on. Right, that's the back end of it, look, I'll bring it closer. That's the back end, that's the front end. I know it's that, I haven't got a camera crew with me, I'm on my own. I'm just going to do that, look, that's that bit I've just cleaned. So if I just take that off, then you're left with that little bit, aren't you? And again, a bit of ISO, you see me do that. Right, sorry Bridget, lid's off. Right, but I'm just wiping top. Wiping right thread. And then I'm going to go in through fat end. Fat end. Are you allowed to say that anymore? The end that's larger than that end. Right. I've watched that video today. Have you seen that video? Me doing spotlight style, look like a silverback. Sat there. Right, so, done that. And then I'm back on my brush, and I'm going to get my tiniest little brush, which is this one. Now, I'm lucky that I've got this Bartsharp airbrush, which you know I love, I'm not going to lie. Right, and I push it as much as I can because of that bad boy. Look at the size of that. Now then, if you've got a normal airbrush that's got like that tiny little nipple thing at the front end, and you're looking at that and you're going, what the that all about? Treat yourself. What's that? That goes in there, and again, I'm just doing a little, I want to get you on camera. I'm not going to be able to do it. Like that. And I'm just trying to break any paint up. I'm giving it a twist and a, let's call it a shag, because I'm giving it a twist and a shag, look like that. Right, a twist and a shag. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 components here. So as far as I'm concerned, this is what I would do for a deep clean. For a shallow clean, I wouldn't do this. For a shallow, what am I on now? 13.5 minutes. For a shallow clean, I'd just put some stuff in white colour cup on and flush it out. For a deep clean, this is what I would do. Right, first thing that I do after all that is I will put the tip and my crown back on. You can't see it, you can. Like that, I'll put that on, and then I will put that needle nipple into the front of my airbrush, and it just sits in this one because it's the daddy. That goes onto the top of that and screws on. You know that little spanner that you're fannying about with now? After you've done that, do you want me to give you a minute to catch up? Press pause. Needle in front back, not front, not front fat end, or the end that's bigger than the pointy sharpy bit at that end. Right, in front back and push it forward. Be careful, you're not throwing javelin, nice and steady. Okay, and just feed it through, you'll feel it go. When it stops, when the fun stops, stop. Right, because that's in as much as it goes, and then you know that you lock that. Right, now I don't need to put, I was looking for it then, I don't need to put back on yet, and I don't need to put my colour cup. I will actually. I'll put my colour cup on. For the simple reason being, what I do then is water. Right, the system that I've got for a shallow clean, I'm just going to spin you around ever so slightly, and I'll put my back on. The system that I've got for a shallow clean, which is just like, I know I'm coming back to my airbrush use in 2 minutes time, so I'll just get a shallow clean. Now, I'm not spraying into my bowl, right? I'm just spraying. I've got a garage, and it's massive, and nobody comes in. There's only me comes in. Right. I've heard you, baby. So, you've poured some paint, and you've been doing a little bit of painting, right? So, how would you do a shallow clean? This is how I'd do a shallow clean. You can see in there that you've got some paint. Let's pretend. Magic. So you've got some paint in there. So for a shallow clean, I will get some isopropyl, right? I won't drink it, obviously. And I've just put a quarter of colour cup in. Don't matter what size you've got. Quarter, half, 2/3, right? And we're a brand new cotton bud. Pardon me. I'd just get a little bit of agitation. And again, what you're trying to do is, you've got to remember, especially with acrylic paint, I found, as soon as you put acrylic paint, don't get me wrong, it's brilliant, and I wouldn't use enamel. As soon as you put acrylic paint into an airbrush, all it wants to do is harden. That's what it's like. I want to harden. So you get it flushed out, get it cleaned out, get it sprayed onto your model, and let's crack on. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just stirring it round in my colour cup, because sometimes if you get it upsides at colour cup, you want to break that down, you want to get it off, right? Once you've done that, don't forget that that liquid now, that isopropyl, is in there, and it's in the bottom of your reservoir as well. So it's from there and it's going that way. But because you've done that, right, all your tiny little particles of paint, I'm not saying they're like boulders, right, but they're in there as well. So now what I have is I have a takeaway tub. So for the first swoosh round in there, I empty it out, and I look, and if there's any paint upside at colour cup, I'll just wipe it up like that, right? Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to force the error down and through. I don't want to do that. I want to get it out of this way. Okay, then I'll put a little bit more in, again just a quarter cup, little full. Right, now some people have got them pots, or you can do it into your air booth, or you can do it into fresh air like I do. Down for air, back for paint, you know what you're doing, right? Now then, blow back. You might have heard it. No, I said blow back. Blow back, cover end up, and when you're covering end up, your air that's coming through here and going this way, because you're covering that up, it can't get out at front, so it backs up on itself and it comes out of your colour cup and it makes a bubble sound like this. Did you see it spit out then? Yeah, that's what blowback, yeah. So what that's doing is it's forcing air down here, right, and your liquid, and because it's coming back on itself, it's breaking it down inside this little chamber again, and it's going to spit it out here. Tip, either put your lid on, put some kitchen towel over the top, or do it in a big open space where it ain't really going to matter, right, like that. And we're just going to chuck that out. Once you've done that, you've blown it back, so theoretically inside bottom of your colour cup and bottom of your res you should be clear, right? Good old fashioned water. Why water now and not ISO? Well, because ISO's, I said it was cheap, didn't I? It is cheap. Cheap theoretically as far as you know in the grand scheme of things, but water's even cheaper. No, I haven't been to the shop and bought a bottle of still water. This is tap water, right, that I've reused this bottle about 1,000,000 times. And I put water through it. You can see it coming out now, can't you? That says to me, mwah, that's clean. Now if you want, listen. blow back, right? So that's blowing it back through. But watch, yeah? I don't need to waste any I don't need to use any more ISO, right? Water. Alright, that's it. So for a small clean, a strip clean, a little clean, water, ISO, cotton bud, in you go, stir it round, empty it out. ISO, this, it's not a written rule, this. Don't be thinking it's like some kind of Rubik's Cube 15 stage algorithm, right? Did he say ISO, water, will it, what did he say? Just do it what you want. I do ISO, cotton bud, empty it out, ISO, blow back to stir it all up, usually empty that out, ISO, flush through, water in, flush, blow back at the same time, flush it through. What you're trying to do is, right, because if you've used a black or a German grey, what you're trying to find is that when you spray it onto the back of your glove or your bit of kitchen towel, it's perfectly clean. It's that easy. There's going to be loads of ways to clean an airbrush, and I've probably broken about 10 rules of how to do it properly. Like I say, that's how I do it, guys. If you do it different, brilliant. You don't need to tell me how to do it, right? The reason that I'm saying that is because I don't actually have any problems with how I do it. I think if I were cleaning my airbrush like how I clean it, and I kept saying to everybody all the time, my airbrush don't work, I can't get it to clean, I just don't know what's going off, then I'd say feedback appreciated. But that works for me, so if it works for me, I don't need any. To the lad that that asked me how I do it, I hope you find it alright, mate. It's one of more, if the not most important part of using one. Because that spraying part is a doddle, and that is a piece of, you know what I mean. Clean it right and you'll be okay. Save this to your videos, and if you need to just refer back to it, but you shouldn't, I'm not kidding. If you just do it like once or twice, get your airbrush out, hook it all up, I won't even put any paint through it, just watch the video, maybe just think, right, so he did this, then he did that, and it's basically flush it out, tip it out, flush it out, blow back, flush it out, tip it out, flush it out, blow back. You know what I mean? It's like that Henry VIII song, innit? So, and hopefully you'll be alright, okay? I'll leave it with you, say no more. Cheers.